Hey everyone, welcome on. I am Sarah Glenn. Welcome to Social Jane. You know that we're always coming in here to uncover ways to elevate your day to day with good vibes, good food, and good people. And I am so super excited to share with you today one of our guest experts, Miss Hailey Rowe. She is here to help us reset our time so that way we can go into 2023 feeling our absolute best. Hailey, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about time and time management.
Oh, it's such a topic that resonates with me, and I'm sure everybody watching right now because we always feel like we just don't have enough of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. All right. Well, let's go for it. Should I introduce?
Yeah, take it away. I want you to give us all of your tips and tricks on, how you kind of drop the overwhelm, get into some time management, and just help us, drop some of that stress.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hi everybody. I am a marketing and sales coach and also LinkedIn lead gen specialist, and I help entrepreneurs like yourself, a lot of coaches especially, and service providers with managing their time to focus on the client generating activities that grow their business and being able to confidently market themselves and create their offers and all that good stuff. So, one of the things that I see in my clients when they are starting or growing their existing business is there's always things demanding our attention. There's always new algorithm changes. There's always things that we want to learn. And especially if you're the entrepreneurial type, you have an interest in like being awesome at everything and you have a lot of ideas and you are just feel like nothing is ever quote unquote done. So what I thought we could talk about today is about how you can manage your mindset when it comes to overwhelm, how you can get more control over your calendar and distractions, and answer any questions that maybe come up for you, Sarah, as we're going.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions as you're watching this replay, feel free to put them in the comments and I can check it out later. But for everybody here too, I have a free gift. That's my free Overwhelm Masterclass, which will help you take what we learned today and apply it. So it's at haileyrowe.com/overwhelm-class. So let's get into it. So I think the first thing that's really important is write down a big thought download or dump of your mind on paper about your beliefs about time, about what's bothering you, about what you're overwhelmed about, or things that you need to figure out. Okay. And then lastly, you'll make a separate list of all the things you feel like you have to do, like your big giant to
Mhm.
do list. And okay. So the reason why we want to do that first is because a lot of the time that we have a fixed amount of time in a day and we have a lot of just thoughts about that actually end up kind of making it worse than it needs to be. So in other words, it's one thing to time block your calendar and to put things in the calendar and estimate how long things are going to take you and be very logical about your time. It's a whole other thing, though, when it comes to time batching that you're feeling restricted and you want to be spontaneous, or you feel like you are, missing out on other opportunities if you put this on your calendar for today, or you're not sure how long things are going to take you because you take a long time on things and you have this belief about yourself. Like, so there's the calendar and then there's your thoughts about the calendar. So I want you to write down what is a frequent occurrence for you, like feeling like I have to rush, feeling like I'm never doing enough, feeling like I can't relax because I don't deserve to because I didn't get enough done for the day, feeling like I take a really long time to do things. Whatever it is, write it down. And then what I want you to do first, before we even get into your to do quote unquote list, is to look at that page and or pages and look at each one, and I want you to star like which one is bothering you the most, or the one that, like, 1 to 3 of them, that if you change those beliefs or if you address that or if you saw it differently, suddenly you would be in a better position. Okay. And once you have those, we're not going to solve all of them, of course, in one day. This is a ongoing thing. Um, I want you to look at them and I want you to see what do I feel is so true about this, and know that it's just a thought. So unless it's a fact, literally, like, I have to drop off my kid at school at 3:30 p.m. every day or whatever, pick it up, pick my
Yeah.
child up, right? Then it's not if it's not a factual thing like that we could prove in court of law or something like that, it's not a it's a thought, it's an opinion you have, and we can always change and expand those. So often we're ingraining the wrong thoughts and asking the wrong questions when it comes to time. So if you starred one of your things on your list that was like, I feel like I never have enough time because I have so much on my plate. Okay, well then we need to actually look at that and say, what else might be true? Or what could I change with my calendar? Or what would I need to say no to feel like I have more time? And we can ask better questions about it to start to shift to where you want to be. Instead of asking, why is this so hard? You know, I'll never be able to figure this out, etc. So go in with curiosity to your top 1 to 3 beliefs. Ask what else is true about this? What could I look at in my daily life to logically address this? What is an alternative possibility or belief? Who's an example of somebody who's solved this and what can I maybe learn from them? Right. And then we're going to move on. So that's the first thing is let's start to change some of your beliefs about time and start to practice new ones. And the only way you're going to be able to believe new beliefs about time is to start practicing it in your day and let it feel really weird at first until you prove to yourself that with practice that, oh, it is possible for me to get, this done in 30 minutes instead of it taking me 2 hours or whatever it is. So now we're going to move on to the brain dump about your to-dos. So at the end of the year, this is actually a really great thing to do because you've already accomplished a lot for the year and you're probably planning your goals for the new year, right? So just you can either do a massive brain dump with no categories, or if it helps your brain, I usually categorize mine after the fact, but if it helps your brain to think of thoughts in a certain category, you can put, every week things I have to do. It could be family stuff I have to do. It could be work stuff I have to do. It could be hobbies and personal life obligations or things I have to do just at home or something like that. So give yourself categories of your life and you can then write down what are my to-dos in this area. And I do like to have one that's like reoccurring. So like whatever you have to do every week, you can have that one in like a reoccurring thing. Okay, so then once you make this whole entire list, now it's time to see what your goals are and see what you need to prioritize. So if you haven't set any goals for your business for the new year, I would pick one goal and I would start to look at your list and see what on this business list actually aligns with that goal. What actually moves me forward with that versus what on here maybe is lower priority or is a different season of the next year. It's not a right now thing, that kind of thing. So you're going to look, based on your goals, and same thing with personal life goals. Like if you want to exercise every week, 30 minutes a day for 3 days a week, then we have to look at the personal life stuff and make sure one of the things on there was how you're going to be doing that or what you're going to, that goal's on there. So once you have this kind of list, go through and star like the things that are very important for right now, like within the next 2 weeks or so. What maybe like circle what, so that you can notice the difference between the categories. The things that maybe is a month, like the month of January, need to do this. And then we're going to put a someday, like a S, by things that are, yeah, I do need to do that, but there's no consequences if I don't do that next month. Like it's just something I want to do, and I'm going to add it to my someday list. And it's very important to have a someday list because your brain, if you have a lot of ideas and you like a lot of things, it soothes your brain to be like, okay, that's cool, we can do that, but not right now. Right?
Yes. I love that. That's a really good tip because, yeah, I do feel a little overwhelmed sometimes with all the wheels turning and you get a new idea and you're like, okay, I got to do that by next week. But yeah, like you said, in reality,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not life or death. So it's someday and it'll get done.
Yeah, definitely. So you have these different categories. So now what we're going to do is organize it. So you would put, I use my phone notes and I'll share the common mistakes of time management and getting control of your time in the next phase of this. But I find that I got to keep my to-do list in somewhere really easy, somewhere I can easily update when I'm at the grocery store, when I get an idea in the car. Like it can't be on a spreadsheet. It can't be written in a journal. I got to have it with me. So it has to be in my phone notes. So I categorize mine by my dailies, like what are my basics I have to do every day that align with my goals. So for me, one of my basics is every day I do a certain number of collaboration pitches. Okay. So, like, that's one of my basics because one of my goals for the next year is to do a lot more partnerships because those work really well for me. They're fun, all that. So, anyways, I have my basics, and then one of mine is like work out 3 times a week or whatever. So, I have my kind of daily, weekly basics that I want to reoccurring do every day or every week. And don't make those 12 different things you have to do every day. That's not, you
Yeah.
gotta limit, you gotta go to the essentials, right?
Yeah,
Um,
let's be realistic.
yes, so we don't wanna set yourself up for failure, even though you think being ambitious and, like, putting 12 things on there is gonna push you, it doesn't. It causes you to shut down, and it causes you to feel like a failure, and then it causes you to not be motivated, and then it causes you to not do the things that you wanna do.
Hmm.
So, basics, okay? So that's one. Then you have like the this week category. And then you put all your, personal life stuff, work stuff, etc. that you have to do this week. And then you have later, like the later list and the someday list. Later list for me is more just like it's not the someday list. Like I kind of need to do it somewhat soon, but that's how I do it. You can do it however
Hmm.
you want. So you have those, and now what we have to do is learn how to actually apply it to our day to day calendar. And so when you are looking at your week, okay, um, first thing is I like to recommend that people put in their appointments, their meetings, their picking up kids, their feeding children, their feeding themselves, literally like the stuff that has to happen that is life. Put those in your calendar first. And then your like goal oriented things need to go in next. So work out 3 times a week. When are you going to work out? When, that kind of thing, and then put in the other stuff like that can fill the rest of the gaps, right? So if you're noticing, and I do this actually, I on a day-to-day basis. So like I know my appointments for the week, and I know I kind of have an idea that for Fridays are more less calls, Mondays are a lot of calls. Like I kind of have a feel for what my week looks like. But if you're new to this, maybe just do it for one day. So what we would do first is for your day, write out like your blocked appointments that you actually already have or commitments that you have to do, your transportation time, like all that kind of stuff. And then what I do is I make a wish list of everything I would love to do today from my categorized master list in my phone notes, right? So you're going to look at that and you're going to be like, okay, what from this big brain dump do I really want to do today? And you write that on your wish list. Then you look at your actual day with the blocked appointments
Hmm.
and picking up kids and eating and workout and whatever. And then you see, okay, what from my wish list is most important that I can put in here? And then you start to time batch and learn how to time batch by taking stuff from your wish list to your day list, and you practice time batching. And now this is a practice because when you're new to this, you are going to feel like, I don't know how long writing that email is going to take.
Hmm.
But also, what if so and so calls me on the phone and I have to pick up? Or what if this happens or that happens? So we want to actually plan for like what you think might be what ifs. So if you think your kids are going to have a tantrum at some point today, like we want to have a little buffer room in your day for knowing that that's probably going to happen, right? And then if it doesn't happen and you're like, wow, I am crushing it today, I'm having the best day ever. But we want to kind of foresee like, okay, probably that's going to happen. So I should have like 30 minutes or so with somewhere here where I could have some buffer room or overflow room if I need
Mhm.
to. So once you time batch it, then you start practicing. Now, what I'm going to talk about next is common mistakes, pitfalls, et cetera, that people make when they're using a time management system. So the first one is thinking that you're out of control about how long things have to take you in your business. So you get to decide and give yourself a time limit, and you get to accept whatever outcome comes out of that time you gave yourself. So in the beginning of doing this process and learning how long things take you, I recommend giving yourself actually extra time so that you can like kind of not feel like, oh my God, I got to write this email in 10 minutes. That's kind of being mean to yourself, right? But what I do want to do is challenge you to not take as long as you normally do, because a lot of times the reason why things take you a long time is because you're overthink. Like, so let's say one of the things on your list is write a post and post it on social media. Well, if you give yourself 2 hours to do that, it's going to take 2 hours, and you're going to overthink, and you're going to be like, well, I got to get the right graphic for this. And you're going to like try to be a perfectionist, and
Yeah.
it's got to be the best piece of content I've ever written in my life. And then there's like a lot of drama in addition to just the task, right?
Mhm.
Versus if I give myself 20 minutes to do my content for the day, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I don't have time to be, I don't have the luxury of like overthinking, being a perfectionist, all these things. I'm
Mhm.
just like, okay, I have 20 minutes. I think I'm going to share this tip that I was talking to a client about today. And I'm going to give the call to action for my freebie. And, then we do it and we go. Right. So that's really important that you don't don't give yourself the most elaborate amount of time, but at the same time, don't be mean to yourself and give you no time that you feel pressure and then you beat yourself up, which leads me to my next mistake, is using this time management system as a way to judge yourself as inadequate or unworthy or I'm failing. That's not the point of this. This is a tool to help you start to learn how long you take to do things, help you plan better, help you organize your mind better, and help you bring up all your limiting beliefs about time by doing this process so that you can keep improving and growing. So anytime you start to turn this into, I wrote down, I got maybe 50% of my time batch to-do list done today. That's okay, period. That's it. We don't need to add on, oh, and I'm a
Mhm.
loser. So this isn't working for me. So like, right. So that's the second mistake I see. And then the third thing I would say is if you really want to get a good idea of how long things take you, time yourself. And I use an app called Toggle. Um, it's Toggl, I think, and it's on the iPhone. And it sends you a weekly summary about how long something took you. So I can look and see, wow, I spent so much time on content this week or something. And then I'd be like, oh, well, that's because when I opened the app, I started scrolling and, and I could start to catch myself on these habits, right? So do time yourself if you need to see, really get a better estimate on how you can better time batch. And then the last thing I'll say is distractions. So a lot of times we either don't plan for distractions or we don't plan in distractions. So what I mean is, if like social media scrolling time, if you know that you do that in the morning and at night, we need to bring it to consciousness and be like, do I like this habit? Do I want to keep doing this? And what is my protocol for scrolling? Like, what is my plan for that? Do I want to do it once a week? Do I want to do it every day? Do I want to, so that habits that are blind to you right now are like, you're like, oh shoot, I just spent 30 minutes going down the TikTok rabbit hole. We need to come back to, no, look, okay, let's bring it to awareness and decide, what do you want your TikTok protocol to be? And maybe you don't go cold turkey, I'm going to quit scrolling TikTok forever, but we can actually get you more in control by saying, okay, I am going to scroll TikTok after I get my main things done for the day at 8 o'clock at night. I'm allowed to scroll TikTok for 20 minutes, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That's just one example. But the point is, any habits that are distracting to you or you don't like or whatever, let's make a protocol around it so that you can actually enjoy it. So, because a lot of times too, we never let ourselves enjoy those things because we're like, well, this wasn't on the plan, and now I'm mad at myself that I did that.
Mhm.
But if you plan it, you get to actually enjoy it better. And this goes back to all my people who are spontaneous and they feel like, man, I don't like planning my day because I like to just roll with what happens, right? I think we have to actually, I think it's more enjoyable when, because what happens when you don't have a plan is usually you don't get to all the things that you'd spontaneously love to do. Versus if
Mhm.
you plan it, you're like, okay, I know I'm going to get to do that. And your brain gets focused on what's right in front of it because it knows that's coming. It's like you're more present in doing the things that you're doing, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
any questions?
I absolutely love all of these tips because I am somebody who puts things in my calendar, but I don't necessarily do them when the calendar tells me to do them. It's
Hmm.
almost like I utilize my calendar as just a to-do list. Like, okay, these are the things I'm going to get done today, even though at 9 a.m. it said to do it.
Hmm.
It might get done at like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And for a little while, I kind of beat myself up about that because I'm like, oh, it's
Mhm.
noon and I like didn't do the four things that, I set to do in the morning time. But then I started to recognize in myself that like my zone of genius, like hours are not early in the morning. I am not at
Mm.
my most creative then. So I'm thinking, well, why on earth would I try to do creative things in the morning? Like, stop, like you say, sabotaging yourself. And I think it's really important when you start to do these sorts of tasks where you make these lists. And yeah, it might sound tedious to some people that aren't used to doing this, but I promise you, if you ever find yourself feeling super stressed or in that like tornado of overwhelm,
Mhm.
this kind of practice would be so beneficial for you because it'll really enlighten the fact of what are the things you take intention on doing and then what are the things you avoid doing,
Yeah.
like, and then where is that gap in between, and can we drop some of the stuff that you're avoiding? Like, are you avoiding it because you truly don't need to do it,
Yeah.
or for a different reason, right? And so I
Yeah.
think these kinds of practices are so vital when it comes to not only like growing a business, but just in everyday life. I mean, if you're like momming it and you're just like at your wits' end, a practice like this could be super
Yeah.
beneficial.
And
Um,
one thing I totally have to highlight, because otherwise it might not work for you if you do the system. I forgot to mention this, if that's okay,
good, yeah.
is when you're picking your tasks to put into your time batched list and when you're putting your tasks into your whole brain dump list that we talked about where it's categorized, make sure the tasks are broken down enough where you could say yes or no, I did this, and it's a result that you're putting in your calendar. So, in other words, what's not a result is you writing in your calendar today, update website. That is not a good task to put in your to-dos because it's setting you up for failure. Because what are you updating?
Hmm.
Are you going to really
That
update
could
your
take hours.
entire website today? No. Like, what if it's update the freebie on my website today? Or,
Hmm.
change the headline at the top of the website today, or like whatever it is. But you have to break it down to, I usually say, pick like 30-minute, like things that this is how you know if you're breaking it down enough. If it's going to be like 30 minutes and you could say yes or no if you did it, and it's like a result instead of just like, again, rather than me just saying, pitch to podcast. Well, how many? By the end of the day today, I'll have pitched to 3 podcasts or something like that. So,
Hmm.
and these are the podcasts that they are, and I already have my pitch template. Like, and so even before that task can become one of my daily things, there's steps that you might be missing that you need to put on your list. Like, I need to develop a podcast pitch template, or I need to look up podcasts to even talk to so that when I do this
Hmm.
task every day, I know what I'm doing. And so if you're not sure on something, like if you're like, yeah, I need to update my website, but I've never used Squarespace before. Okay, well then one of your tasks on your list has to be spend a day watching tutorials about Squarespace or research
Right.
how to do this on Squarespace. That would be a step, because so often we get mad at ourselves as entrepreneurs that we're like, well, I'm not further enough along, but because we didn't realize there were pre-steps to doing that
Hmm.
task that we have to factor in for.
Yeah. Do you feel like you get a lot of clients that are like, for some reason, this one task, it keeps being like, it keeps showing up day after day. I keep not able to get it done. And it's like, yeah, there's
Mhm.
something prior to that,
Mhm.
little baby steps. That's really what gets us through life in general. It's taking those baby steps and really narrowing down. Like, I love that tip of yours. Like, if it's not going to take you more than 30 minutes and there's a direct result from it,
Mhm.
it's a yes. Add it to the calendar. Like, oh, I love
Mhm.
that. I did want to ask you, what do you like in your experience with your clients, when someone's like, oh, I'm so good at multitasking? Like, how do
Mm.
you feel about that?
So I think there's a difference between multitasking and habit stacking. So in other words, I do, and I want to go back to highlight what you said about planning things with your energy. Like, so if you know you're really on in the morning and you do your best call work or you do your best
Mhm.
whatever work, big fan of time batching your day to match that. Like I always put content towards the end of the day because I'm like, that's when I'm like done with my calls. Like it's really not that hard. I can like lay down in my at home sauna doing that. Like,
Yeah.
so that's like my thing. But what I am going to say, so multitasking, if something is takes you twice as long, there's statistics about like, you know, when you jump tasks, the switching cost of that, it ends up taking you like twice as long. So you're really not multitasking. You're trying to do like multiple things at once. And a lot of times you don't absorb it. However, I will say I'm a huge fan, especially as women. And I'm sure if you guys have kids and are mom superheroes, like you probably are going to need to do this. And that is habit stacking. So, in other words, if you know in the car you can listen to that podcast or training you had on your list, or if you know that I do my walks and sometimes I'll do my voice notes and answer my messages if it's not too windy on my walks, or I'll do my social media while I'm in the sauna because that's a habit I want to have. But and I have this like dome thing where my phone doesn't get too hot, and so I can do that. So it's like there's things that if to enhance your productivity and to
Mhm.
um, you know get the things do the things you want to do. I am a big fan of habit stacking if you can.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction because I come across a lot of people that are, oh, my day is always so, so busy, but I got nothing done. And it's like, well, we need to unpack that a little bit. Like, why is that the case? Was it because you were just bouncing from task to task and then never actually completing anything? And I'm guilty of it. I get sort of sucked into just having a lot to do. And I have to physically say out loud sometimes, it's okay, it will get done. I need to set this aside for a moment while I finish this thing that's in front of me. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we just have to be really like, it's that intentionality of get this task done. And it's okay that the next task is 15, 30 minutes, an hour later. Sometimes
Mhm.
that happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm absolutely loving these tips. You guys, Hailey mentioned that she's offering you a freebie. I highly recommend that you get into her website. We'll drop all the details in the comments below so you can have easy access. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Hailey?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and thanks to anybody who watches a replay. And like I said, that free overwhelm masterclass and checklist will take you through that mindset exercise we did at the beginning. That's at haleyrowe.com/overwhelm-class. I also have a podcast about time batching if you want to check that out at haleyrowe.com/time-batching. But I'm on Instagram at Hailey_Rowe. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all the things. I have the Health Coach Nation podcast for coaches, and the Health Coach Nation Facebook group for coaches as well.
Well, I'm so excited that you were able to hop in and share your expertise with us. And I hope that you guys really got a lot out of this because time is truly the one thing we never get back. So let's really be intentional about it. And, we're the masters of our time. It doesn't own us, right?
Love that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hailey. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And we will see you guys back in here tomorrow with our guest expert, Alex Pena. And we're talking about how to reset your debt. See you guys then.
Thank you.